is I, Tantus Naran Dracovin, Lord and Emperor of the Dracovin Empire, and welcome. It is time for Gathering the Roll, the only news program supported by the Empire. Exciting and fantastic news from the worlds of Magic the Gathering and role-playing games such as Dungeons & Dragons, Shadowrun, and Pathfinder. So let's start off today with some Magic the Gathering news, where we usually start off with Commander 2016 is released. Now you can get these 5 new Commander decks for your collection or for your using with new updated ways of playing Commander. There are, as I said, 5 decks, each of 4 colors. There's a deck that does not have red, called Breathe Lethality, a deck that does not have blue, called Open Hostility, a deck that does not have black, called Stalwart Unity, a deck that does not have white, called Entropic Uprising, and a deck that doesn't have green, called Invent Superiority. So go ahead and check out these decks, find one that you want, or get all of them, up to you. In other Magic news, this weekend is the 2016 Magic World Cup. It's very exciting. It's the big global competition that's going on. It's going to be taking place in Rotterdam, Netherlands this weekend for 3 days, where teams of 4 players, each representing their country, from around 70 countries is going to be competing for, of course, the glory of it all, and up to $250,000 worth of prizes. So, teams of 4, each from their own country, competing for 3 days of intense competition. We'll see who comes out on top this weekend. Moving on from Magic the Gathering news to Dungeons & Dragons news, the biggest news of this week is D&D is now inducted into the Strong Museum of Play's Toy Hall of Fame. So Strong Museum of Play, known for their Toy Hall of Fame, electing a number of toys each year, usually 1 or 2 gets in every so often. This year, Dungeons & Dragons is one of the 3 that got in. So it's very exciting that they're honoring this long-run series, about 42 years it's been going on, with the distinction of being called a thing of play that children have been influenced by and has influenced the world and has done a great thing. Gary Gygax would be proud. Too bad he's not with us to see it, but everybody over that's been working on the current edition is excited about this. This is a great honor, and it shows the love for the system and the love for the game, which has evolved over so many years. Let's hope it has 42 more to go at least, if not more. Moving on from that, there are 2 releases from Dungeons & Dragons this week. Dungeonology is the first one, which is a compilation of information on dungeons from Waterdeep down into the Underdark, giving some information about Faerun and Forgotten Realms, that it gives you some insight into running your game, 5th edition games, in this classic world setting, just a little bit more, giving you some information on the seedy underbellies of many of these towns. The other release that's this week is Volo's Guide to Monsters, coming out today. So now you can go and get this guide that will give you some information. First, it gives a number of classic and new creatures that you can have the statistics for your battle. So it's bringing back a couple of classics, adding in a few new ones. That is going into depth about a number of classic monsters and giving some more information so that you can build them to be sort of your main focal point as villains, or to better incorporate them in the way that they were meant to be incorporated. Also gives you the option of a number of new playable races that would oftentimes be considered more of the savage races, but now you could be things like orcs and goblins and a good selection more of other creatures. Let's move on from Dungeons & Dragons news and talk about Pathfinder. On the Pathfinder side, there is also 2 new releases. There's the Pathfinder Player's Companion, Blood of the Beast. Now this one talks about being one of the races that is almost animalistic in nature. Things like catfolk, Gripply, Kenku. It goes through all of them. Ratfolk, Venera. It gives information on alternate class options for them, feats, items, diving more into depths of character options so you want to play one of these many races. And some of them are pretty popular. Things like catfolk and Gripply are just always fun to play. So now you can look more into depths about playing them. If you want to play one of those, I would recommend checking it out, getting some more information about your race, and seeing if you can get some more information about making it more custom to you. The other release, of course, is Pathfinder campaign setting, Horror Realms. With the advent of horror settings such as Carrion Crown, Adventure Path, and Strange Aeons for a different sort of horror, they're putting out a new book all about horror for Pathfinder. Now, if you're running a Pathfinder, a horror-based adventure, it gives you some options about how to build it and make it more of a horror-based game. Also gives you some updated information for character options should you want to play a character in a horror-based setting. helps you out a little bit, fit in with it, makes it a little bit easier probably for you to survive. Also gives you some updated information about haunts. Haunts being the sort of supernatural, spiritual traps that you can encounter within the Pathfinder setting. Updates them a little bit, gives you some more extra options for them to make them more enjoyable and custom to your games. So go ahead and check these out. Great books for you to reference. So that's it for the news for this week. Links to any of these news stories will be found in the description below. Remember to like, subscribe, and of course share the news. If you have any questions, anything you want to talk about, any of these stories, any other things, just remember to drop them in the comments down below. If you want to ask us in live about some of these topics or more, we will have Discussing Tabletop this weekend, as we've been having for the past couple of weeks. Saturday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can come and join us. You can check out. We'll be talking about all these news stories and more. If you want to show some more support for the channel, of course, other than just coming and joining us for the other things, you can always check out my Patreon linked in the description below. But regardless, until the next time, I bid you farewell.